Yeah.
Do you know who I would put on that list that you guys didn't mention, and you're going to laugh at me? But it's simply because he's big and can be physical, but he can also shoot very well. Frank Kaminsky.
Okay.
I like.
I haven't seen a lot of Frank
out of everyone in the league.
I mean, how many other people are big and physical but can also shoot the three? I mean, KP is close. He's not that physical though.
No, he's got to put on a little bit of weight.
He's a marshmallow.
Cousins can do it.
Cousins can do it not as consistently as Kaminsky.
I understand, but we're comparing DeMarcus Cousins to a white boy from Wisconsin. He better be able to shoot a three.
Kevin Love is a white boy from UCLA.
Again, can shoot the three.
Yeah.
It's got to be in their wheelhouse.
I'd probably want Kyrie on there too. He's just his handles are disgusting. I love watching him play because even though he's a flat Earth crazy conspiracy person, he's buttery. He is so smooth with the basketball in his hands.
No love for John Wall?
I think John
Wall's good, but Kyrie has better handles. John Wall's faster, but Kyrie has better handles. Even Allen Iverson said that Kyrie has better handles than him, though Iverson, I think, had a quicker first step, and I think Iverson's crossover was better.
Iverson had a better attitude. I like that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, I mean, that's something that I joined a lot of different sports podcast communities, and that was one of the questions that someone had posed. 10 players that you think could beat the...
Did we come up with...
I mean, with 10... I don't think it'd be that hard.
That's a starting lineup on the bench. That's a whole team.
Yeah, because then you'd have two starting lineups.
You could say well, they got to be in the East. They got to be in the East. That was the thing.
From the East.
Got to be in the East.
We're done.
Got to be in the East.
Absolutely not.
So no Kawhi and no Giannis.
So you can get Serge Ibaka.
There goes Westbrook.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, that changes the whole argument. I don't know if you can do that now.
East.
I mean, what, DeRozan? Wall? I mean...
You got John Wall.
Gortat? Like, what are we getting for center
Marcin Gortat's good.
He is. Good. No, I'm not saying
at this point, if it's the East, get Frank Kaminsky.
Yeah,
bring him up.
We
don't have many options here, bud.
Do you throw Melo on that team?
No.
I think he might be...
As long as he doesn't have to run the triangle.
Number 10 in the East, I think. He could be. He could be the 10th.
Well, you got to have LeBron.
I mean, it also depends.
Well, obviously LeBron, yeah.
It also those young,
you get like half the Cavs team still.
Players.
It also depends.
You get like half the Cavs team still.
I mean, if you get full,
you just give them a bench.
If you get full teams that are full,
give him Towns and Wiggins. That's pretty good too.
I'll take Embiid.
If you got this guy who's got a 5-year, $100 million contract, Derrick Rose would certainly go on that list.
Disagree.
Really?
No, he's not near the top 10 in the East or the West.
No, he's washed up. He'd get injured in the first 2
He's broken.
The Derrick Rose that in the beginning of the season was distributing to the Knicks. Before he was like, I need to make my money.
Before he was like, oh, wait, my knees are actually made of glass.
And I hate to say this, but he's going to always be a shell of himself of the MVP season that he had in Chicago.
I didn't even think he should have been the MVP that season.
I don't either.
I think that was LeBron fatigue. The league was just like, listen, we got to give it to somebody else. So, Rose, sure.
And you have to understand, go back to David Stern. David Stern was very close with Michael Jordan. He did not want LeBron James catching Michael Jordan, especially in the beginning.
Yeah.
Yeah,
he's going to be chasing ghosts the rest of his life. I don't know he's ever going to be able to get some numbers he wants.
Yeah, I am, in the last week, been very upset with that whole stat of him passing Michael Jordan on the points lead. I think it's a fluffer stat, and I think
he did it in a lot more
33 more
That's
games.
what I'm talking about.
In the same time frame, Jordan had 6 NBA championships, 6 NBA titles. Not to mention the first round was only 5 games. It wasn't 7.
There's a lot of reasons why I feel like this is a fluffer stat that no one should even be comparing to.
Yeah, I think rings is still important.
It's the only argument I need.
I completely disagree with rings.
That was a bad teacher? Was that movie? That reference?
I completely disagree with the argument about rings.
Because he's playing more seasons?
Well, no, it has nothing to do with that. If you expect LeBron James to win the championship by himself, which by putting that ring thing on him, that's a problem.
I agree with you.
Yeah,
because
no,
his first
a
few
ring
seasons
is-
in Cleveland before he went to Miami, that wasn't.
A ring is more of
and
a
he
ring.
was still taking Cleveland, to
the finals, to the finals,
every year.
and he was losing.
And that's impressive in and of itself.
Because Jordan did have a great team. Jordan had, Pippen,
Grant,
Kerr, Rodman,
Kerr,
Jay Armstrong, Bill Cartwright.
But honestly,
and Rodman was
because
that dirty player that you need. That
Will Purdue,
Tristan Thompson might be somewhat similar to, but not as dirty, obviously.
The reason I make that argument,
that's crazy.
The reason I make that argument,
he's not going to North Korea.
and my whole view on this is flipped in the last 5 years. I used to be all about the rings. If you don't win championship, it means nothing. You are not that good. But then I took some time to reflect. Am I going to sit here and say that a guy like Joe Flacco is a better quarterback than Dan Marino? Hell no.
Yeah, I agree.
Absolutely
No,
not.
it's a good point. I think a ring is a more representation of the team as a whole. We have ways of finding out who was the best of their time. Look at MVPs. If you want to do finals MVPs for the clutch moments, I get that, but
I don't even take that because
the game's so different. That I don't think. That's why it's so hard to compare different time periods, because you would have to be able to put the two players in their prime against each other. And
whose game are you playing?
Exactly.
Their game or the new game?
I always found it hard for Dan Marino. When it came to comparing, back in the day, you always got that whole Charles Barkley and Dan Marino comparison because they were the best at their sport without winning a ring. With football, though, I felt like Dan Marino was always at a disadvantage because at least with almost every other sport, hockey, basketball, baseball, you're playing both sides. You're playing offense, you're playing defense.
I mean, not if you're the Knicks.
Yeah, unless you're the Knicks. But with Dan Marino, he would have to actually at some point stand off the field and watch some of his games get thrown away by the defense.
And
he has nothing he can do about it.
The other thing that I'm also not that big. Yeah, we're at an hour.
I was going to say, you said we're not going to get to 1 hour and 47?
I was wrong. It's going to happen, I'm sure. But the other thing that I also flipped the script on is stats. I don't think statistics matter as much. I'm more about the eye test nowadays because of reasons like what's his name? Brett Favre. Mm-hmm. Brett Favre threw the most interceptions in NFL history.
Yeah.
But keep him out of the Hall of Fame. I dare you. You're not going to.
No.
Right. Yeah.
Because he had every other record that he had.
He's one of the greatest quarterbacks in NFL history.
It really comes down to who were you when the whistle blew.
Look at Barry Sanders.
What did you do when the whistle blew?
There's so many running backs that have run for more seasons and for more yards than Barry Sanders. He's in the Hall of Fame, though, because of, like you said, what happened on the field. No one could do what Barry Sanders did. He could juke out the whole defense individually, every player.
Also, we're having a completely different discussion about best running backs in the NFL if LaDainian Tomlinson and Curtis Martin had better offensive lines.
Yeah.
Yep.
I don't know which one would be the leader, but both of them, if they had better offensive lines for longer...
No bias there.
They both would be ahead of Emmitt Smith. I think maybe LaDainian Tomlinson.
Yeah.
But it's ridiculous using rings. I mean, stats.
It can't be the definitive factor.
If it's a single sport, if you're saying, listen, there's no way Andy Murray is as good as Novak Djokovic, he doesn't have the chance.
Well, then that's
Reggie Bush has a ring. Reggie Bush has a ring.
I mean, in all fairness, because here's another fun stat.
Actually, for what it's worth, David Carr has 2.
Yeah, I mean, think about this. If you want to talk about how crazy misleading statistics are, there are very few players who have more game-winning shots in NBA Finals than Brian Scalabrine.
Wow.
That's pretty sweet.
And I've learned something new before we get to This Week in Sports History.
Speaking of game shots, I found it funny that we see this Gatorade commercial with Paul George on it that we have a problem with.
Listen. I don't know what you guys think. If Paul George is on a good team, he's an elite player.
Oh, no, I get that.
I haven't seen this commercial.
Do you not
no
remember?
Overtime tonight.
Yeah.
So he takes a shot, walks over to the bench, grabs a Gatorade, everything's going slow-mo, and then as he brings it down, it gets back to regular speed.
And he hits the game-winning shot.
Bucket.
Yeah. But the funny thing is, in fact, in real world. They had that whole thing in the beginning of the playoffs where there was a player that took the shot, and Paul George was like, I should have taken the shot. It is fact that Paul George has taken 21 buzzer beater shots and missed every single one of them. He's never made a buzzer beater shot to end the game.
Oh wow!
So like this whole Gatorade commercial is based off of something that never happened.
It's a Stephen King novel.
Has never happened.
Does that take into account shots that were hit and then the other team scored the game winner?
I think it has to be within a certain amount of time.
I think it's shots to win or tie, or no, it's either
buzzer beaters.
It's either the game's tied or they're down 1 and he's taking the shot to win.
Yeah, I think he's put them up, and then the other team still had like.
There's
10
that
seconds.
possibility, but with time expiring, and that's what the commercial is leading me to believe. It's a lie.
Okay.
I love Paul George, a great player.
Yeah.
All right, he's going to be a great LA Laker.
I hope so.
Probably.
I hope so.
Yes.
With Lorenzo Ball.
So this has gone on for way too long, guys. I'm sure everyone's going to be sick of hearing us. So I believe we're all talked out about these topics. So really quickly, we just have our This Week in Sports History. I think it's a really good one. On May 30th, 1922, the Cubs traded Max Flack for Cardinals' Cliff Heathcote. During the middle of a doubleheader, that means both players played for both teams in the same day.
That's funny.
Amazing.
That is an awesome fact. I
Both
love that.
locker rooms.
Yeah.
Both
Guess what?
dugouts.
Yeah.
You got to go
Like,
over there and
they
get your
just
stuff.
walk across each other and just trade jerseys. All right.
Here you go.
I still hate you, at least.
Yeah.
I was teammates with every single person on this field.
I know their plays. I know their plays.
I can get their signs.
Yeah. All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for us tonight. We have successfully kept this under an hour and 47.
Nice.
All right. So as always, you can listen to us on iTunes by clicking subscribe. It gets sent directly to your phone or other listening device. Check us out on Facebook, Dan D'Antoni Sports. Check us out on Twitter at Dan D'Antoni. Check out our blog, www.dandantonisports.blogspot.com. You can read our Football Friday. I've done the top 25 already. We're going to do a lot more in weeks to come. All right, so guys, that's going to be it for Dan, Tony, and Chuckles.
Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you for being here. Have a good night.